few months ago, I was sent an email titled "Personal Request about my friend's Minecraft world." I assure you this isn't some ARG video or a fictional story. I was really sent this. The email reads, "I wanted to share something personal with you. My close friend, his gamer name was Peaceful Joker, recently passed away. He was a big fan of your channel. Before he passed, he sent me a Minecraft world he had been building for a long time. He told me that it was full of details, hidden areas, and little things he was proud of. I'm sending you his world because I think it meant a lot to him, and I know he would have loved the idea of you seeing it." I was surprised, sad, and also a bit honored. With mixed emotions, I downloaded the world. And what I found in it sent me down a 4-month rabbit hole of thinking, reading, and exploring. This video is the culmination of what I found out about Minecraft worlds in my search, and it all starts in Peaceful Joker's world. When I joined, I was met with a room made of bedrock. It had a bed, a fridge, a single painting, and also a shulker box. Inside the shulker is a book. It's titled "One with the World." It may be one of the last things the creator ever wrote, and its contents are part of the reason I became so obsessed with this world and the idea that all Minecraft worlds are inherently meaningless. But we'll get back to the book later. There's a hole in the bedrock. It leads to the rest of the world. Something else about Peaceful Joker's world is that I don't feel right showing it to you. For reasons that will become apparent, the very idea this world is built on makes me hesitant to show you what was created here. I'll spoil the ending of this video. I will show you Peaceful Joker's world. I will show you the thing that single-handedly made me spend hundreds of hours on this topic of art without an audience, pointlessness, and the inherent artistic intent behind every Minecraft world, whether the creator knows it or not. But until then, it's important we talk about why I shouldn't show you what's beyond this bedrock room, and why, despite this, I will. And it all starts with why we play on Minecraft worlds in the first place. I'm sure we've all heard of the 2-week Minecraft phase, a phenomenon where you, or maybe you and your friends, begin a Minecraft world together to stick to. You play obsessively for 2 weeks and slowly stop. There's 2 distinct phases of a Minecraft survival world. The first phase is forced creativity. You build, but with guidelines. You need a house, you need a villager breeder, animal pens, so you might as well make them look good. The 2-week phase usually ends at this point, when the forced creativity stops. When you've built every farm, when nearly everything practical has been achieved, when suddenly there are no more guidelines. From the beginning, the world was about creativity, but without a sense of meaningful progression, it's left to the player to decide for themselves what happens now. Being met with a canvas a million miles wide is daunting, and once the blinders are taken off, you realize just how much, or how little depending on how you view it, is left to do. This is when people quit. The fun part of Minecraft for so many people is the ability to progress through the game, to get better at everything. Once that's gone, you're forced into being creative without constraints. Those who stick to their worlds past this point create what's called a forever world, which, as the name implies, is a world you don't plan to stop playing on, even after every practical progression is met. A consistent theme I see across nearly every single-player forever world is lore, a story. The creators of these worlds have foregone the typical advancements of Minecraft single-player in favor of transforming their world into a narrative. The act of creating a town isn't enough. You have to explain how the economy runs, where they get their food, the jobs of the townspeople. At a certain point, Minecraft becomes gamified art. The difference, however, between the art of a Minecraft world and the art of a written story or painting is that, especially for single-player worlds, there is typically no audience to appreciate that art. On a forever world, players are more than happy to spend thousands of hours and several years creating art and stories and lore only for themselves, for no one else to see. Why spend so much time creating something not meant to be seen? This was one of the first things that stuck out to me in Peaceful Joker's detailed world, and I wanted an answer. So, I sent out a form to my audience that had forever worlds. These are people with over 200 hours on a single-player world and multiple years, but a lot of people who responded spent thousands of hours, some for even over a decade. I also had a chat with the content creator Mogswamp. Mogswamp's Superflat world has been being built by himself for the past 13 years, and just through talking with him for an hour and a half, I gained a lot of insight. Initially, when coming up with the idea for this video, my first question was, why single player over multiplayer? In a game where hundreds of servers exist that don't reset, where you can play survival Minecraft all the same, why spend so much time building and creating for nobody? Why not leave a legacy with what you create? In my video about 2B2T, I argue that the reason people build such incredible structures on a server without rules, knowing that they will be destroyed eventually, is because of the value in memory. Leaving a ruin behind leaves you a legacy on the server, a piece of yourself for others to find. This way of thinking breaks down in a single-player world. At first glance, there doesn't seem to be a legacy in building in a world on your own for no one else. In my video on Dead Games, I showed the build known as Zanpai 3000's Mansion. The mansion is a series of hundreds of liminal-esque rooms on the server Minecraft Online, a purely survival server. Recently, I asked why Zanpai, the builder, created this massive complex. I also asked if they would have created a similar build in single player. The response I got was revealing. To quote Zanpai themselves, "I would not have built it on a single player world, making it was possible on Minecraft Online because I could show it to people and have their reaction to it. Every once in a while, showing what I spend a lot of time on to someone who is very enthusiastic about it helps a lot with the motivation to continue to make it." Even in non-anarchy servers, the desire to build grand things so others may find and explore it stays the same: to have an audience. With this in mind, I asked this question on my Forever World survey. Why do you continue to play on your world despite the fact that there's little to no more progression possible anymore and nobody but yourself will fully appreciate what you've created? Why spend so much time creating something with no audience? In all 43 responses, two consistent patterns emerged. The first reason is self-expression. The simple act of creation is enough for several people to continue building their Minecraft world. There's something so freeing about a canvas when you know it's all yours. When you have something tangible that you can mend and build to your heart's content in, it can be a contrast from the lack of control people feel in their own lives. I also asked this question to Mogswamp, and he said that on massive multiplayer servers, what you create is almost lost in a sea of other creations. If we look at the entire world as a canvas, then the artistic intentions of any one creator will always be muddied by the creations of several others.
If you go and watch a Hermitcraft video, it might not be immediately obvious who built what. It's impressive in a different way, I suppose. But with single player, like it's actually really easy to just be like, wow, yeah, this was all one guy who built all this stuff I'm seeing.
When it comes to leaving an individualized legacy, it's almost more wise to do so in a single player world, because it's much easier to understand that everything you create here is truly yours. Self-expression is almost muddied by others. If the world is your canvas, then can you ever call yourself the painter in a multiplayer world? Sean Tucker, in the opening pages of The Meaning in the Making, argues that our human drive to create things comes from the inevitable decay of life. Since ancient times, humans have understood that everything comes to an end, and that order is not a constant, and that one day everything will turn to chaos. Various religions have their own version of inevitable decay, and in science there's the concept of entropy, the idea that as time passes, the universe will inevitably devolve into a state of chaos, making complexity impossible. And humanity's creativity comes from the desire to bring about order in a chaotic world. In Tucker's own words,
"We are driven to create because it comforts us in the face of impending disorder. We know that no matter how much we make, we cannot ultimately turn the tide, but we can make things to help us make sense of life. We can make things to ward off the darkness."
In the case of 2B2T, the process of entropy occurs very quickly. Any complex structure will ultimately be brought down by griefers and thieves. In that way, complex structures like Crowbar's interdimensional bridge might be a reconciliation with the nature of the server. It represents the human drive to understand the inevitability of chaos and create order regardless. It's a feeling I felt numerous times while exploring beyond the bedrock of Peaceful Joker's world. This feeling that a world this impressive wasn't meant to serve anyone. It was made for Peaceful Joker to express himself, and an audience wasn't required for that. This is further evidenced by the only piece of writing directly from Peaceful Joker in his world. At least, that's what I found from hours of exploring. It's a signed book inside of a shulker box in the bedrock room. The book is titled One with the World. Here's what it reads. "I created this world for myself as a test to see if I could, and I gotta say, I'm happy with the results. Each structure I built was a distraction, something solid to focus on, also a form of expression. I found myself lost in this rhythm of building, which would have never ended, so I had to do this. The world felt mine, not in an ownership way, but in a father-son-like relation. However, I still felt something missing, closure, so I decided to become a part of it rather than its creator. Now I am not above this world, but in it. It feels complete." What Peaceful Joker had to do is something I can't tell you without showing you the world, but the idea he presents here about being lost in creation is something many of us can relate to. It's this sense of controlling the world around you, the sense that nobody will interrupt you, the sense that what you create is truly yours is why people play on single-player worlds. Life is hard, very hard, and if for once we can stop pretending, stop performing for other people, stop trapping ourselves in these routines that make us slaves to our own environments, then maybe, just maybe, we can preserve what makes us so human. Minecraft is a fantasy world because for many people, their single-player Minecraft world is one of the only places where they can truly be free. It's an escape. If you're free, if you know that you can create anything, if you simply enjoy the process of letting your mind fall into a state of unwavering creativity at a blank canvas, then who cares about an audience? The desire for creativity over all else, even people to appreciate that creativity, is inclusive in all art forms. Vivian Maier was a street photographer from the 50s all the way to the late 90s, and although she took over 150,000 photographs in her lifetime, she never showed anyone. In fact, Maier never even saw the majority of her own photographs. She never printed them. The simple act of taking photos was enough to enthrall her, enough to make her content with her life as a nanny. I can't help but subconsciously feel that this desire is almost selfish. Is it selfish to capture such beautiful moments in time, to create such a beautiful interpretation of reality, and not share it? The only reason the history books know about Vivian Maier and her work is because her unprocessed photographs were sold at auction, in an unmarked box, and coincidentally ended up in the hands of someone who actually cared. How much of the world's art has gone unappreciated? How many beautiful buildings, houses, bases, villages, lakes, terraforming projects, and creations have people put their heart and souls into that have never been appreciated by virtue of them being in a single-player world? How many paintings, books, statues, cities, and music have been burned? How much of us, our collective experience as humans, lay dormant in a box in some far-off auction house? How many millions of works of art are hidden on the hard drives of millions of computers, forgotten even by their creators? The sharing of art is a hope by the audience of art. It's a hope that the people who are willing to create masterpieces actually care about sharing them. Because for so many people, sharing art is an optional step after simply creating something. After fighting off the chaos of the universe for another day, that's enough for many people. It was enough for Vivian Maier and her photographs. It was enough for some of the best artists in history. Why play on single-player Minecraft? Because the hidden masterworks of players on hard drives encased in dusty boxes of fans and silicon are proof that our capacity for creation and our drive to create inherent complexity and order in a universe that won't be here forever is far greater than the combined ego of every human that has ever existed. I started writing this video with the expectation to make almost a hit piece on single-player Minecraft. I'd just gotten done with the most enthralling experience I've had with a video game to date, and that was exploring the world of 2B2T. It was branded into my very soul that Minecraft couldn't possibly have any other meaning other than the meaning found in leaving pieces of yourself for others to find. I didn't understand single player. I didn't get why people spent thousands of hours playing on a version of Minecraft that I thought to be a waste of Minecraft's potential as a piece of philosophical importance. But I get it now. And in many ways, the great revelations I experienced on 2B2T were exactly the same ones I experienced when researching the idea of art without an audience in single-player worlds. Because both 2B2T players and single-player players seem to be less concerned with what happens to what they make or who remembers what they make, and more concerned with the act of making. Anyone who builds on 2B2T knows that the art they create will be destroyed, and anyone who plays on single-player knows that their art won't ever be seen by many people. Maybe it was wrong of me to say in my 2B2T video that the main motivator to build was a spot in memory, an audience to appreciate the person behind the creations on the server. But maybe the simple act of creating order in such a chaotic world is enough for people. And in single player, maybe creating order that will never be fully appreciated is their way of prioritizing the act of creating over the response of an audience. It seemed to be that way for Peaceful Joker anyway. We can learn from both of these groups. We can learn that creation isn't inherently tied to what other people think of what we've made. We create to know that we've created. We create because somewhere on a little ball spinning in the grand cosmos, there's a resistance to the slow demise of the universe. There's something out there that loves the world so much that it doesn't want it to die, and will prevent that death for as long as the chemicals in their minds keep firing, and the blood in their veins keeps speeding through the highways of each appendage, and those appendages can hold a fat middle finger to the ending of all things. Vivian Maier, 2B2T players, single-player worlds are a sign of love and hate to the cosmos. Love for a universe we don't want to end, and hate for the inevitability of that end. We aren't denying death, we are denying death an easy job. That we continue to build on 2B2T knowing that nothing we create will last, that we spend thousands of hours on single-player worlds that nobody will see, that we create art for nobody. If death were a person, they would be flabbergasted. Single-player worlds bring order from inevitable chaos, as all good art intends to do. That's not to say that the messages within the book The Denial of Death by Ernest Becker still don't ring true. In many responses to the question in my survey, why create a world without an audience, the same quote kept appearing over and over again. I am my own audience. A main point within The Denial of Death is that human motivation comes from our desire to leave a legacy. My initial reasoning was that single-player worlds were simply incapable of doing this. However, I was wrong. In each detailed answer to my question, the same idea popped up. I enjoy remembering what it was I created here. One person who responded writes of creating a memorial for their dog who passed away that they only found and remembered years later. Another states that their world is like a diary to them. It's a reflection of how their view on life has changed. Others write about how they can see a bit of their past self in the old structures etched into the silicon of their hard drives.
Eventually, if you stick in a world for long enough, it becomes a journal. It will become extremely comforting. It's like a digital home. And when I walk through my world and look at old builds or old projects, I just inherently, walking through the world, am flooded with all these memories and all these feelings of where I was at when I made that thing.
Minecraft single player, after a long enough time, loops back to being something like 2B2T. You leave a legacy for yourself. You are your own audience. Minecraft single-player worlds are opportunities to discover who you once were. Finding pieces of yourself in your Minecraft world anchors you into a moment in time. In a world where we're constantly focused and thinking about the future, moments where we can gaze upon something as simple as a Minecraft build and remember who we were is comforting. It's also why many people on the forum all said the same thing, that their world was almost like a home, a comfortable place where they could be themselves.
And it can be quite powerful, I'm not gonna lie. My world has made me very emotional on several occasions. I can literally remember wow, I had just gotten broken up with when I built this build, and I remember burying myself in this build to help cope with the heartbreak.
We build on single player because of the value in the act of creation, but also because we don't want the versions of ourselves today to be forgotten by the people we will become in the future. Memory and legacy is taking place here, just not for external validation. Forever World players are more interested in finding themselves through their old builds than letting anyone else find an assumed version of them. They're interested in leaving a piece of themselves for themselves to find. It's really a preference in that way. On 2B2T, legacy is left to strangers, to the travelers along the road. For Minecraft single player, legacy is left to an aging version of the original creator. We create because we want to be remembered, and it really doesn't matter who does that remembering, even if it's just an older version of ourselves. As someone who kept several journals throughout elementary and middle school, I can relate to the idea of creating for your future self. And maybe, on a larger scale, art without an audience is created so the universe will not forget us, so that the things we make will survive, remembered by the very atoms that made them up. Remembered as a brief blip in time in a universe that will simply cease to be one day. In SlaughterHouse 5 by Vonnegut, there's a race of aliens called the Tralfamadorians. Unlike humans, they don't view time in a linear fashion. Rather, seeing the cosmos as one big time pudding, choosing to exist in time whenever they want to. They see the stars not as specks in the sky like humans do, but as lines that trace out the patterns of where the stars were and where they will be. To the Tralfamadorians, what you create will always exist, even if it's blown up far away on 2B2T right now, even if you forget about the ruins of your childhood self-expression in your single-player world, there was always a point in time in which it existed. The Tralfamadorians also know when the universe will end, and how. They'll create a device that destroys everything. They can see this future. But instead of trying to prevent it, they understand that the end is only a point in time. There were several other points in time where everyone was happy, so why fuss over one bad thing? The universe won't forget you, because even if at some distant point in the future everything ends, at some point in time you were a kid, finding immense joy in expressing yourself. The universe is your most valuable audience member. The world remembers you, even if you don't. I get the impression that Peaceful Joker must have created this world with this in mind, at least to an extent. If nobody sees this world, at least the universe knows it existed. It has a lot to do with what Peaceful Joker wrote about in One with the World, the thing he felt he had to do. This will make more sense once I show you his world. Of course, there's the counter-argument to all of this. The very consideration that Minecraft worlds can be art is something that not everyone will agree on. Whenever I look at a painting, I understand that it took effort, but part of the reason I'm so mystified is that it almost seems like magic to me.
People who haven't painted before might not even be able to grasp all the techniques you're using. To them, it's sort of just like magic, right? It's like, wow, I don't know how he did that. That's really impressive. I'm moving on with my day.
Throughout history, art that wasn't immediately seen as magic to the average person was cast aside as not art. We saw it with abstract expressionism, where people claimed that their 5-year-old could also throw splotches of paint at a canvas. It happened with photography. The dominant belief when that was becoming popular was that it wasn't art because anyone with a camera could do it. Because you could see how even you could make a painting like this, because you could see how you would take a photo, these things were cast aside as proper art. If it isn't magic, it isn't art. In the modern day, a Minecraft world is something anybody can make. Seeing a semi-impressive Minecraft build, you can conceivably see how you could make it, or at least something similar, yourself, at least most of the time. And it's for this reason Minecraft has been cast aside as an art form by the general public. You won't see Crowbar's interdimensional bridge in a museum, you won't see any Hermitcraft Seasons opening shows. Because of its accessibility, Minecraft has been cast aside as a serious art medium. But just like it's genuinely difficult to make a compelling abstract piece, and it's hard to take the perfect photograph, making a Minecraft world potent with a clear story, theme, or history is incredibly difficult and often takes multiple people over several years to get right. 2b2t being a clear example of a Minecraft world that obviously belongs in a museum. It's why I found Peaceful Joker's world so special, because somehow he got it right. But then there are questions to be answered, like when is a Minecraft world truly finished? Every day, 2b2t's canvas expands, so how can you display it right now when tomorrow the world is different, and in a year it's unrecognizable? But it's the same with single-player worlds. When can you say a world is truly done? A forever world literally takes a lifetime to complete.
There aren't a lot of art forms where you could just kind of keep going at it forever, and it gets more and more impressive and valuable over time. Most things reach a certain point where they're just done.
And if we consider Minecraft to be an artistic medium, then in this way, single-player worlds are the purest form of art in Minecraft, preserving only what the creator intends to be in their world, a solitary canvas. 2b2t builds like Crowbar's interdimensional bridge are more like performance pieces, coming to existence to be witnessed briefly, only to be inevitably destroyed. They exist in memory, but you really had to be there to understand what they truly mean. SMPs that don't allow griefing are like collages, where several artists work on one massive canvas to tell a story through time and space. But it's not just the visual aspect of building. As I'm fond of saying on this channel, Minecraft builds tell stories of players and points in time, much like paintings tell stories. Sometimes these stories can be fictional, like a town built in a single-player world complete with an economy and housing, almost a work of literature. Sometimes these stories can be historical accounts, like the many signs on the starving road on 2b2t. Almost like an abstract expressionist painting in terms of a reflection of a point in history. We're definitely progressing to a point where Minecraft building and Minecraft in general can be considered a medium of art. And maybe part of the allure of choosing to create this art on a single-player Minecraft world is the very fact that nobody will see it. Maybe the artistic message lies in the fact that the creation is private. And we've seen this trend all throughout art history, through people like Vivian Maier, of course, but also painters like Francisco Goya and his black paintings, which were discovered in his home only after he died, or the musician Prince's vault, where he kept thousands of unreleased tracks. Maybe single-player worlds are a new modern incarnation of art for nobody, of prioritizing the act of creating. Maybe part of the artistic message relies on the knowledge that it's not for anyone but the creator. Maybe single-player being pointless is the point. And it's because of this that I feel that there's something about revealing art that wasn't meant to be revealed that feels wrong, as if I'm trampling upon the artistic intent. There isn't something mind-boggling behind the bedrock of Peaceful Joker's room. What there is, however, is vast order and complexity found where the original creator didn't intend for anyone to look. Being that Peaceful Joker has passed away, I can't be sure that what I'm doing is right. That showing you what's behind the bedrock is at all moral or the intention of the creator, even if I did receive permission from both his friend and his brother. In the documentary Finding Vivian Maier, the person who found Vivian's work at the auction house, John Maloof, says this about showing her art to the world.
I can't help but to feel a little uncomfortable or guilty exposing the work of a person who did not want to be exposed.
If I showed you what's here, what does that make me but another schmuck who didn't understand the point? But like John Maloof, or like the people who found the black paintings in Goya's home, I feel an immense urge to share what I found with you. Maybe you won't get the same experience I did exploring it, but at least I can impart the lesson that some things are given meaning by the very fact that nobody was meant to see them. So here goes nothing. Peaceful Joker's world starts in the human enclosure. That's what the Bedrock Room is. The human enclosure is hidden behind another enclosure, protected by lava and hidden from view. The book that accompanies the human enclosure says that this is done because of what they're capable of. Humans have apparently become very rare in this world. There is no exit to the human enclosure. It's equipped with a fridge for food and a painting hidden behind glass so you don't touch it. The rest of the world is a museum, dedicated to several of the new mobs in Minecraft. Alongside each creature is a multi-page entry describing their lore, what they're made of, what they eat, what they hunt, what eats them. The only thing relatively human here are the villagers, who seem to be running things. They stared at me as if looking at an unfamiliar face. There are hundreds, and I truly mean hundreds of pages worth of writing detailing the ins and outs of certain mobs, fungi, and other phenomena, all in the author's own words. Peaceful Joker doesn't tell you how much health the Phantom has. Instead, he describes how, because Phantoms don't hunt villagers, a volunteer had to stay up for several days and nights until the Phantom couldn't resist in order to capture it for the lab to run tests. Peaceful Joker doesn't just tell you that the piglin brutes will attack you even if you're wearing gold armor. He theorizes that this aggression is caused by a deep cultural heritage, or potentially through rigorous conditioning. These enclosures are everywhere. Go through the nether portal and you'll find a sign warning you to not stay for too long in the nether roof. If you keep going, you'll find the Ender Dragon, where Peaceful Joker writes that it's the last of its kind, and could be the key to reviving the species. I can't tell you why some parts of the world were built. I can't tell you why there's a room made of white shulkers filled with quartz. I can't tell you why this long hallway has an uncomfortably high ceiling when compared to the rest of the underground lab. I can't tell you why there's no physical way to leave both the human enclosure and the bunker in survival mode. Nobody alive can tell you why anything here was created the way it was. But I can still assume. Like an animal's scent still fresh in the nose of a bloodhound, humans have a unique ability to leave themselves behind. In the book Travels with Charley in Search of America, John Steinbeck writes about Lonesome Harry, a man he encountered through what remained from a stay in a hotel room. The room wasn't cleaned when Steinbeck arrived, and the various items in the room told the story of Lonesome Harry, the man who stayed there before him. From various letters and signatures, Steinbeck could tell Harry was on a business trip. An empty bottle of whiskey combined with an empty bottle of Tums and 2 foil tubes of bromo seltzer implies that Harry wasn't just there on business. He had a wife at home, one he was halfway through writing before throwing the letter out. As Steinbeck puts his experience, "As I sat in this unmade room, Lonesome Harry began to take shape and dimension. I could feel that recently departed guests and bits and pieces of himself he had left behind." This experience of finding someone through what they left behind is more present in a Minecraft world than in an empty hotel room. I feel like I know Peaceful Joker better after exploring his world. I know he must really enjoy the sciences based on his clear knowledge of scientific concepts and his descriptions of mobs. Based on his diction and clearly large vocabulary, he could be a writer as well. The various spelling and grammar mistakes indicate that he never reread his own work, too excited by the prospect of creating to make sure everything was perfect. Much like Lonesome Harry in the hotel room, I felt Peaceful Joker taking shape through what he left behind. And the story doesn't just stop at the underground lab. If you once again use spectator mode and this time leave the lab, you'll find a village. It's fortified completely from the outside world, which is an infinite snowy grassland. Inside the village is a community, complete with shops, missing posters, and statues to the Great Protectors. There are no buttons to the iron doors leading to the exit, implying that no one was ever meant to leave. The world is truly desolate but for this one bastion of life. The villagers live life in a massive world they don't truly understand, but they attempt to the best they can by virtue of their underground lab. Surrounding the village are various Minecraft structures with their block palettes changed. Maybe this was Peaceful Joker's first project before creating the zoo? Again, there's nobody alive to say. The structures are important to the story though. I was sent an older version of the world by Peaceful Joker's friend initially. When I told them I was making a video, they got me the most recent one on Peaceful Joker's computer, and this version at first didn't seem to be much different. But upon closer inspection, you'll find things like the basement of a witch's hut where you can find Brine, who seems to have been kidnapped. There are several people on this missing board that probably exist all around the map. If you keep looking, you can find a rundown building with a deep bunker that hides pillagers that raid the villages nearby for scientific knowledge, with them also doing experiments to understand various phenomena in the game. Mostly through an evoker named Thalmor, who suspects that the creaking heart's vibrations can be intercepted with amethyst in order to, quote, reclaim what's been taken and exact revenge. I'm assuming on the villagers. There's something about this level of intimacy with a Minecraft world that I find so comforting. It's likely that Peaceful Joker spent some of the last moments of his life building this place. As such, the world holds an unmistakable weight. I've talked about the concept of last blocks before in my 2B2T video, but I think it may fit even better here. One day, you will place your last Minecraft block. It's possible, if not likely, that Peaceful Joker's last block was placed somewhere in this world he loved so dearly. There's something about exploring one of these last block worlds that gives everything a weight. It's the same feeling I get in real life walking around a cemetery. It's as if breaking any block would be an insult to something or someone, even though I only had a download. As if I was being watched, as if the world itself was haunted. Nothing in this world will ever meaningfully be added to again. Was it complete? The book One with the World seems to suggest that indeed the world was finished. And the dominant feeling I get when exploring this world and reading the 3 pages of One with the World is that Peaceful Joker somehow knew he wasn't coming back. In fact, One with the World almost feels like a goodbye in many ways. His last log-off spot was in the human enclosure where the book is housed. There are no unfinished builds, and he wrote a goodbye letter and became part of his world. That's what he meant when he said he had to do this. He says he would have never stopped building, so he had to become part of the world in order for it to be complete. He resigned his position as god of this world and instead became a part of it. And not even a large part of it. A small room hidden inside the enclosure of another creature. To Peaceful Joker, the world wasn't complete without him in it. He wanted no distinction between where the world ended and where he began, a creator physically merging with their work. It's poetic then that he lives on through this world, that I know a piece of him no matter how tiny because of this world. By the very act of creating it, human enclosure or otherwise, he will always be one with the world. I truly get the feeling when exploring this place that Peaceful Joker had created the kind of thing I dreamed of creating as a child, an entire world with the facts made up and explained by me, a canvas of expression where only I could tread. The dream to come home after a long day of whatever and just sit down and create the kind of world you wanted to live in. Does all art attempt to play God in such a fashion? To create order out of chaos is why we create art. This is the argument made in The Meaning in the Making. Only a god may create order that matters in the grand scheme of things, but as humans we can try to be gods. Art pieces may be our shallow attempts to be as perfect as the creator of the universe. And one world at a time, we try to, with all of our imperfections. If the world should end tomorrow, the least we can say as a species is that we truly tried our best. Struggle to what end? No human has any idea. And yet from something like the scrawls on each book in Peaceful Joker's world, I get that warm human feeling. That idea that I'm walking through the ruins of a battleground where a solitary soldier on the side of the humans attempted to fight the universe's tendency to end all things, even when no one instructed him to or cheered him on for his efforts. I get the feeling that I have major respect for that soldier. When I pick up another book from the wall and am blasted with a vivid make-believe description of a make-believe organism in a make-believe game in a make-believe world created by make-believe people, I toss through the vines of meaning, and they fade away with my touch. And I see straight into the core of it all, that our world truly is meaningless, that nobody is coming to save us, that nobody will help us in our journey to an inevitable end. But we are not destitute, quite the opposite. Rather than cry at eternity, we choose to be absorbed into the grand nothingness unblemished by the fire of unmeaning. Choosing to create all the same, choosing to build a world, choosing to fight an unwinnable battle with the end. Peaceful Joker has passed away, and recently at that, but the efforts of that soldier will not be forgotten, not because he inflicted any meaningful damage to the collective enemy, but because in spite of the impossibility of doing damage, he still chose to fight. We are all soldiers fighting our own battles, but we are not fighting a battle without meaning. Instead, we are fighting meaninglessness itself. Every video of mine is a prop hand grenade thrown to the common enemy. The Mona Lisa, a blank fired at nothing. Your Minecraft world, a plastic butter knife thrown at a tank. We may never win this fight against meaninglessness, but the mere fact that we try, and that we try together no less, makes Death's job just that little bit harder. Even if in the end, it's always the same. Peaceful Joker's world was not created for anyone to see. It was not made for humans in mind. Instead, his efforts, just as all of our efforts, were directed towards the universe. Appreciating art is appreciating a shiny new dud to be thrown at the ending of all things. Maybe Peaceful Joker's world is pointless. Maybe Minecraft worlds, by virtue of them being art, are pointless too, are just another weapon in an unwinnable battle. Single player is pointless because all art is pointless. And that's okay. Whether I show you his world or not, the purpose of it remains the same. I see our world differently at the conclusion of this video. A Minecraft world did that for me. Not a Picasso or Rothko or a Michelangelo, but a Minecraft world. Whether or not a Minecraft world will be valued by humanity in the same vein as great works is irrelevant. Because at the end of the day, both things may have ultimately been created for the same purpose. Unappreciated art is still art. Still serves the same universal purpose of trying and failing to defeat chaos. All any good artist can be is a soldier who dies on the battlefield without ever leaving a scratch on the enemy. A good interpretation of that art is to simply say, they fought a good fight, and throw another dud hand grenade into the void.